Hey everybody, Justin Worden. You're watching What's New in Electronics. We are here in Rosemont, Illinois. It's day one of SMTA International. The floor is vibing. People are running all over the place. I'm with my good friend, very good friend, Mr. Brad Pagano of Financial Inertia. How are you?
I'm doing well, big guy. How are you doing?
Man, I can tell you this right now. I mean, you and I go way back.
Right.
15, almost 20 years. And to think that I would be working in the electronics industry, let alone you would be here at the international show by my side, just taking this all in. What do you think?
Well, I just learned how to turn my TV on the other day, so this is all amazing. The robots, just the level of information that I'm gathering, and like I told you earlier, I'm going to be smarter tomorrow than I am today. But it's amazing here. I've met some great people. It's just been a wonderful experience. Thanks for having me out.
Yeah, my pleasure, of course. Anytime you and I can travel together is a good time. But like me, I mean, I've been in the industry 5 years. I still get blown away by how cool it is. I mean, a couple finance guys like you and I from San Diego, living now in Austin, and just diving full into the electronics industry. But the reason I specifically brought you here is there's so much movement in the electronics industry with workforce development, nonprofit, education, financial institutions. I mean, you look around, and yes, there's a lot of customers and consumers here, but everyone exhibiting needs help with their business, right? And that's the part that I think is missing.
Yeah, I think, this is such a very niche industry, and they're very good at what they do. I mean, the letters after everybody's name, PhD, MBA, I mean, it's just amazing how smart they are. And I was just in a session talking with individuals around OEM, and they're using acronyms that I don't really understand. But at the end of the day, there is a whole different level of support that's available to these businesses around business operations, around business intelligence, just around the types of things that help them operate on a day-to-day basis. And then more importantly, as they're continuing to grow their community initiatives, how they can continue to build themselves up where they work, live, and play. So there's opportunities for people to not only get funding and support their community, but also to develop strong relationships with some of what I would call the subculture of electronic manufacturing around finance, insurance, logistics, etc. And I think there's a tremendous opportunity to be had for these businesses to engage in a very responsible way with these industries and with these other corporations.
Well, something that's I hang my hat on at a presentation that I like to give often is, we have some major companies in here, some big names that, they adjust the way the economy goes. All right, we'll put it lightly. But with the economy being in a state of uncertainty, the chances of anyone in here increasing their revenue drastically over the next year or two is something that has a lot of people concerned. And when we talk about that, we have to look at other ways to make money. So with my sales presentation, with the products that I sell, it's like, how can we reduce costs, improve quality, and reduce costs so that your bottom line's a little lower? If you're not going to improve revenue, let's cut costs. But that's on the technical, consumable side. You're on the business side, and that's why I think you provide an extraordinary amount of value here, because I don't think people look at how we can adjust the numbers financially from a business perspective or a business service perspective to make our revenue look a lot better.
I mean, there's only two ways to do it. You can make more money or spend less. And a lot of times these businesses, they get so set into their ways. And the most dangerous thing you can ever hear is, this is the way we've always done it. And what I always tell everybody is your business plan, your strategic plan, and your budget should be written in pencil. And you should be revisiting it regularly, whether it be with an executive committee or a finance committee, an advisor like myself. How often are you speaking to your CPA, your banker, your planner? What do those conversations look like? Or is it just rinse, wash, repeat? Are you showing up, getting your taxes done, writing a check, and keep it moving? So I think, to your point, as costs are increasing, as supply chain is getting more tight, we have a socioeconomic issue coming up with an election in about 15 days. It's going to have a tremendous impact, whichever way it goes, not being political, but there is going to be an impact one way or the other. And that impact is going to be felt near and wide. So I think it's important for individuals now to start to look at ways that they can help themselves, because you can't magically just make more money or magically reduce your cost. It's a systematic approach to responsible growth that's going to allow you you to become more successful and to also protect yourself, because there are a lot of businesses out there in the M&A space that are also looking. So there's so many options and so many available resources that it's just taking the time to sit down and learn about them and find the path that's best for you.
You know what, Brad? That sounds great. That sounds awesome. But here's the thing. I make circuit boards.
Right.
I don't have the time to deal with what you just said, so I'm just going to do it the way I've always done it.
Right, and that's what we hear a lot. So I think what you really want to do is identify, is there somebody that you can set as your advocate that you can trust to have these conversations initially? And the conversations that we have is not around very technical things. It's about, let's see what you're doing financially. Are you leaking money? Every ship has got a leak in it. It just depends if the leak is big or if the leak's going to make you sink. So the idea is, when you are doing this, and another analogy I run is, you're running a marathon when you're running a business. You're going to sprain your ankle. My job is to shepherd you through the course and let you sprain your ankle as few times as possible, and do it in a way that, again, allows you not to suffer from a business perspective, but to grow from a business perspective. And if you can do 1/10 of 1% better than your competitor, then guess what? Next year you're going to be 2/10 better, and 3/10. It's the old adage, death by 1,000 paper cuts. This is growth by 1,000 paper cuts.
Well, I think that's what's so important, because when people think of financial consultants or bringing someone in from the outside, they think they're just going to get bad news, but sometimes you need bad news to shake things up. This isn't a tax audit. We're not selling tax services here.
Right.
Hopefully none of us need those. But just like working out, just like doing your monthly budget at home with your wife and kids,
right,
you got to take a look, see where you're spending the money and where you can improve. And unfortunately, I know for me as a business owner, I can just say, it's not that bad. That was just a few $100s here or a few $100s there.
Right.
Sometimes you need the person to come in from the outside, shoot you straight, give you a little bad news, but that bad news leads to cost savings, which leads to better money.
Well, here's an example I'll give you, Justin, is every year when you have to renew your cell phone or renew your cable or renew this, do you just allow them to increase your bill by 15%? Most people don't. But in business, they do. Why? Well, because I just signed a new customer, and I can't focus on cutting this bill, because now I got to pay attention to Rocca Solutions, which, by the way, dynamite organization, one of the best in the industry from what I understand, and everybody here, this booth is kick-ass. But FYI,
I did not pay him to say that.
But FYI,
Maybe
I will tell you that the most important thing to do is, we don't look backwards, we have to look forwards. And don't just take everything for granted, and don't just accept the status quo. There are so many industry partners out there. There are so many individuals out there from a subculture and a support culture that can help you. Take the time, invest an hour or two, and see how much money you can save, because maybe you don't have an opportunity to make a change, but knowledge is power. And if you can go to a current vendor or to a current provider and say, if you don't do this, then I'm gone, believe me, things move that way. That's how you save money, more than just trying to figure out how to cut a nickel here or a dime there.
We're going to wrap it up there. And if you know me, I do things differently. I come from outside the industry, and that's why I brought Brad in. So if you're sitting there thinking about how you're going to make more money, you can't figure it out, let's talk about how we can save you more money, how we can look into different incentives and rebates and things that the government are doing to bring more business back in North America, onshoring, nearshoring. You better call Brad now, because his phone's going to start ringing. He's going to be booked up. So if you want to get this consultation, do it now. Brad, thank you so much.
Thanks, bud. Appreciate it.